In this graph, it shows the wages paid to sales assistants. So you can see y-axis is the wage in dollars, and the x-axis is the hours worked. Notice that each knot represents 1 unit in the x-axis, but only the 5 and 10 are marked. And in the y-axis, there's no markings, but we can see that the first point, which is the y-intercept, is 50. At this point, the y value is 110. The y value is 140, and at this point, the y value is 230. So first, we need to interpret the intercept on the vertical axis. So that is this 50 right here, and this is the vertical axis, the y-axis. So in terms of this problem, y-axis represents money, and x-axis represents hours worked. So when there are 0 hours worked, the wage is $50. So that means a sales assistant automatically gets $50 for having worked 0 hours. So as soon as they start the job, as soon as they start working, they automatically are paid $50. Now, from there, you will see there is an increase in pay, and we need to find out what is that increase. So how much money do they make per hour that they work? That will be the rate of change. So the gradient of this slope is going to tell us the wage per hour. So we need to find that. So we can pick any 2 points on the line and find the rise over the run, which is the slope, the gradient, and that will tell us the wage per hour worked. So I'm going to choose these 2 points. I'm going to choose the point 050 and the point 230. So the y increase, to go from 50 to a y value of 230, that is an increase of 180 units, and that's just the difference of 230 minus 50. To go from 0 on the x-axis to 12 on the x-axis, that is an increase of 12 units. So the rise is 180 units, the run is 12 units, so the slope or the gradient is 180 over 12. When you take 180 and you divide it by 12, you get 15, which means the sales associate makes $15 per hour. And the reason I know it's dollars per hour is because 180 represents dollars, 12 represents hours, so that is money divided by hour, so money per hour. Per is another just fancy way of saying divided by. Next question, determine the wages for working 6 hours and 18 hours. Well, you could look at the graph and you could see when x is 6, so when the hours is 6, the y value, the money, is $140. So they make $140 after 6 hours. To find out what they make at 18 hours, well, we don't see that on the graph. We would have to extend the graph to see that. So what we actually need to come up with is an equation and substitute 18 hours into the equation to find the money we earn. So to write an equation in slope-intercept form, you need the y-intercept and the slope. We know the y-intercept, that is 50. That's where it crosses the y-axis. We know the slope. We found that in part B, the slope was 15. So the equation y equals mx plus c. In place of m is the slope. In place of c is the y-intercept. So we have 15x plus 50 equals y. There's your equation. I've shown if you substitute 6 hours and if you substitute 18 hours in place of x, since x represented hours, you will see exactly how much money they make, since y represents the amount of money or the wage they make. So at 6 hours, they make 140, which we already saw that in the graph. And at 18 hours, so if we were to extend this and look at x is 18, we would see that y is 320. So after 18 hours, they make $320. The last question, if no payment was made for not working, but the same payment was made for 8 hours work, what would be the new rate of pay? So in order to do this, we need to know how much was the pay at 8 hours. So we need to know when x is 8, what is y. So I'm going to use this equation. I'm going to substitute 8 in place of x to find the value of y. When I do that, I get $170. Now it says, let's say that we start at 0, so you get $0 for the y-intercept. So to go from the point 0, 0 to the point 8, 170. So to go from 0, 0 to 8, 170. The rise, so the change in y, to go from 0 to 170 is 170 units. To go from 0 to 8 is 8 units. So the rise over the run is 170 over 8, which when you simplify that, you get 21.25. So you get $21.25 per hour if you start with $0 at 0 hours. And there you go.